Welcome back to Trilogy's channel with me, Frankie Mardell. Today we're going to be talking about a super special timepiece, the Richard Mille RM11 Rose Gold and Titanium Felipe Massa. But before we get into the video, our watch of the day is the Patek Philippe 5726 with the steel bracelet and white dial. The 5726 has been an unloved Nautilus over the years for some reason, and I'm not quite sure why, because I think it's a stunning piece. The 5726 was originally released in 2010 on a leather strap, which really wasn't that popular, but back in 2012 they released it on a full bracelet of both the white and black dial models, which is a great watch. This one can be purchased today. It's a 2015 with box and papers for $67,950. Here I have the Rose Gold and Titanium RM11 Felipe Massa. Felipe Massa, the esteemed Formula One driver, was the first influential sports star that Richard Mille began working with, and they have a lot of pieces named after him now. Over his career, Felipe Massa has had 40 podium finishes, which has done wonders for the brand and his namesake's watches. The ethos of Richard Mille was to create a racing machine for the wrist. So having a highly esteemed and successful Formula One driver certainly helped with the marketing of the piece. So this model, the RM11 Felipe Massa, definitely is in keeping with the brand's ethos of the racing machine on the wrist. Just look at that stunning open-worked dial. The RM11 FM has some great complications too, featuring a flyback chrono, an annual calendar complication and a 60-minute countdown timer, all housed on this super thin dial. This is all possible through Richard Mille's in-house RMAC 1 movement, which has 38 joules and a 50-hour power reserve. A flyback chrono is much more useful and much easier to use than a traditional chronograph like you'd find on a Daytona, for example. This is because the chronograph hands fly back at the press of the pusher at 4 o'clock rather than having to manually stop the chrono with the top pusher, reset it at the bottom pusher, and then restart the top pusher again. This can save valuable seconds when timing the next event. The flyback chrono was invented by Breitling in 1932. The flyback chrono was a great tool for pilots in the Second World War. This meant pilots could wait and restart timing to exactly coincide with a radio signal and therefore calculate their direction with the least possible deviation from the ideal route when there are enemies nearby. Obviously, technology has come very far in the last 80 years and flyback chronographs are no longer used by military pilots, but I still think they add a great look to the dial and have an immense amount of history behind them. The RM11 FM, like the Patek 5726, features an annual calendar complication with the date wheel at 12 o'clock and the month wheel between 4 and 5 o'clock. The dial at 3 o'clock is the running seconds hand, which is independent of the chronograph seconds hand at the top. Many people often mistake the running seconds hand on a chrono for the chronograph second hand, and at times I've sold chronographs to customers who have come back minutes later saying the watch isn't working when they're looking at the chronograph hand, when really they should be looking at the running second hand. The RM11 FM is made in the traditional tonneau shape of Richard Mille, making it instantly recognisable and a favourite of Richard Mille fans. The case measures 50mm by 40mm by 16.5mm. I know this sounds really large, but due to the shape and the curvature of the dial, the watch is actually very comfortable and quite lightweight. It's definitely wearable every day. The watch comes with a ventilated black rubber strap with a Richard Mille deployant clasp. Richard Mille does sell a host of other colours for those of you who want to personalise the watch and jazz it up, but personally I think rose with black works really well and the watch is loud enough as it is. So, prices. You would have been incredibly lucky to be able to pick this watch up at retail when it was still in production, and if you had the opportunity to do that, you would be spending about 90 grand at the boutique. However, like most Richard Milles, these watches were going for seriously over retail, and especially now it's discontinued, the price of this watch has jumped up. Last year, you could have picked this watch up for £120,000, but this year that is definitely an impossible price. Richard Mille, like Patek, have been on a serious bull run with prices, and this watch today is £180,000. The demand for RMs is constantly rising, and the demand seriously outstrips supply. Richard Mille are currently manufacturing around 4,000 watches a year, and they can nowhere near meet the demand for their watches. This is the reason I believe most of the Richard Mille line are fantastic investment pieces, and as you can see with this watch, it's risen by 50% in the last year from 120 to 180,000, which far outstrips a lot of traditional investments. You can also wear this stunning watch whilst it's making you lots of money. This particular model is a 2019, comes with box and papers, and the Richard Mille box is actually a winder box that keeps the watch running when you're not wearing it. It's available in store today for click and collect appointments, and let me know what you think of this watch below in the comments. Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Check back next week for our latest video, and please like, share and subscribe. Thanks.